Welcome, my loves. This is your girl L, the alchemist, also known as the holistic energy alchemist. And I want to welcome you guys back to your cosmic sanctuary. Today, I'm going to start a series about something that is actually very near and dear to my heart. And it is a revelation I received during the Taurus new moon. So I want to go ahead and share this with you guys because I know that this is information that will help a lot of people. So as always, I'm going to jump right into it and talk about what this series will entail. So this series is what I call the circulation of life. And I'm going to get into some deep somatic truths that I've learned from doing my own somatic work over the past about 8 months. So I want to talk about why the body was never the enemy. And this is going to be very different than a lot of teachings that you've heard in the past, where a lot of people talk about the body as if it is something to disassociate from. So, like I said, this is something I've really been sitting with lately, and it is how deeply humanity was conditioned to disconnect from the body. And what's interesting is a lot of people think disconnecting from the body is normal. They think overriding themselves is normal. Ignoring exhaustion, normal. Ignoring discomfort, normal. Ignoring their emotions, normal. Even spiritually, people were taught to distrust their bodies, distrust sensation, distrust the five senses. And I remember hearing teachings that the five senses deceive you, that the body is unreliable, that the body is something lower that needs to be transcended. But what I've been realizing is when you teach people that the body cannot be trusted, you teach them to disconnect from themselves because the body is not separate from consciousness. The body is consciousness made visible. The body is consciousness expressed physically. So if you are constantly overriding the body, silencing the body, abandoning the body, disconnecting from sensation, you are disrupting the circulation of communication within your own system. And this is why so many people cannot hear themselves anymore because they were taught the language their soul was speaking through, which is sensation. And what I'm beginning to understand is that the body is not just flesh. The body is a field, a living field of intelligence, a living memory field, a communication field. And every sensation is communicating something. Tightness communicates. Exhaustion communicates. Pleasure communicates. Softness communicates. Expansion communicates. Constriction communicates. The body is always speaking, but most people were trained out of listening. And what's fascinating is this conditioning became so normalized that people now violate their own body consent daily and call it discipline, pushing past exhaustion, forcing themselves to do things that their body clearly does not want, ignoring emotional discomfort, suppressing tears, ignoring the need for rest, even eating disconnected from the body, and then wondering why they feel numb, why they feel disconnected from life, why joy feels absent. They cannot feel abundance because abundance requires circulation, and circulation requires connection. You cannot feel life flowing through a system you have disconnected from. And this is where I started realizing presence itself is nourishment. not just food, not just water, presence, awareness, conscious, loving attention. Most people are physically with themselves, but energetically absent from themselves. Even during self care, they're moisturizing their body while mentally somewhere else, doing their hair while disconnected from themselves, bathing without presence, touching themselves without actually being with themselves. And I started realizing that the body responds to presence. The body softens under loving attention. The nervous system responds to safety. Attention is one of the deepest forms of energetic nutrition because where consciousness goes, life force flows. And when you begin bringing presence back to the body begins opening again, softening again, trusting again, circulating again. And honestly, I think this is why so many people struggle to receive love, abundance, nourishment, and rest because they have been unconsciously abandoning themselves for so long. The body learned survival instead of communion, performance instead of presence, productivity instead of relationship. And survival consciousness disconnects people from sensation because sensation becomes unsafe. Feeling becomes unsafe. Softness becomes unsafe. Rest becomes, guess what? Unsafe. And this is a big one. Receiving becomes unsafe. So the system adapts, it contracts, it closes, it protects itself. But what's beautiful is the body never stops trying to return to wholeness. It never stops trying to restore circulation. And this is where I started understanding triggers differently too. Because most people think triggers are punishment or signs that something is wrong with them. But what if triggers are actually the body bringing unresolved experiences back into awareness so circulation can return there? What if the body is not attacking you, but attempting to reconnect you with the places that were abandoned? Because the body remembers everything, not just mentally, somatically, energetically, emotionally. And many of our reactions are not coming from the present moment at all. They're survival echoes, old sensations resurfacing, old unmet experiences resurfacing, old emotional memories seeking restoration. This honestly changed how I started relating to myself completely because instead of judging my body, I started listening to her. Instead of overriding sensation, I started becoming present with it. Instead of abandoning myself, I started communing with myself. And I think this is the shift humanity is moving through collectively right now. Not transcending the body, returning to it, restoring relationship with it, restoring trust with it, restoring safety within it. Because the body was never the enemy. The body was the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. The body is the sacred bridge. The body is the sacred field through which consciousness is always communicating. And I truly believe the body does not bring wounds into awareness to punish us. It brings them into awareness so circulation can return, so life can return, so love can return, so we can return to ourselves. So, my dear loves, I'm going to end part one of this series on that note because it gives you something to digest, to internalize before I continue part two of this beautiful embodiment series. Love to you all, and I will see you next time.